The tragedy in Jasper has brought the best out of people. I had the chance to find out more about a group of Vermilion firefighters making a difference across the province. The Emergency Services Technology Program in Vermilion is one of Canada's most pristine training facilities. With the wildfire fight in Alberta being a continuous issue, they decided to help out any way possible.
Jasper was, getting more aggressive, and that fire was more concerning. We were able to reach out to the province of Alberta the morning of Wednesday morning, and offer them the resources that we did have, and just the friendly reminder that we are here and that we're available. Wednesday evening, that then call came to go to support Jasper.
Over 30 students from Vermilion were sent to Jasper, bringing hands-on learning to another level.
We were tasked with putting out hot spots, and actually one of our classmates noticed a fire in a house, so we ended up actioning that fire there on the first day. Well, I've done wildfire in my past. That's what I did last summer in Manitoba, but it certainly doesn't compare to this. The devastation in Jasper is heartbreaking, and I have family from Jasper, and so those first couple of days it was stressful for sure.
The emotional toll taken in Jasper was apparent, but being with their fellow classmates made the experience manageable.
I think for me, it was definitely a little bit emotional just kind of walking into that. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of us being there and having that team around you, I think definitely going in as an individual but coming out as a team through this program is definitely something that I think a lot of us will take forward in our lives and careers.
From a teacher's perspective, there are not many better ways to learn than the way these students were able to in Jasper.
I think it was a great opportunity to exercise the skills that we learn here on campus in a real-world environment. But I think even more important, is the personal development they get as people when they go out to see that sort of thing, and to work with all of those other fire departments and see the incident management team working hard. I think the development, it really humbles you on that experience, I guess.
Callan Dunlop, Primetime, local news. The Lloydminster Museum and Archives is combining history and drama for one day only. Our Lane Hoffert has more.
A Knock at the Door is a theatrical performance coming to Weaver Heritage Park in Lloydminster on August 10th. The show will be held in front of the Rendell House.
We are excited to host it at Weaver Heritage Park, and it's going to occur right in front of our historic Rendell House. And so the company Live History, they have learned the history of the Bar colonists and the Rendell family, and they are going to incorporate it into their theatrical performance.
Not only has the theatrical performance been specifically tailored to talk about Lloydminster's history, it will also include lots of audience participation.
And so this performance will include a lot of clue solving, so you are very much immersed into the story. And so at the end of this program as well, you are invited to participate in a historical magic workshop, and you get to try out some of these magic tricks yourself.
Those interested in attending A Knock at the Door can register online. There is also the option for people to only attend the magic workshop after the performance.
Of course, so you can register at lloydminster.ca/LMA programs. And it is $30 for the entire Knock at the Door and History Workshop, Magical Workshop, and it is just $7.50 if you just want to join us for that Magic Workshop.
A Knock at the Door takes place from 10 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. and again from 1:30 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. on August 10th. Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News.
We are officially into August, and we have some very nice weather to enjoy.
We certainly do. A lot better than the end of July. We're finally into the, mid to low 20s. Just some nice weather. You can go outside, go for a swim. You don't have to worry about burning up too much. Just some.
Yeah, it's not like the plus 30s that we've been getting. It's a nice mid 20s. It's a good range, I think.
Oh, for sure. It's great weather we're having here in Lloydminster today. The high currently we're at 25 degrees. 13-kilometer-an-hour winds, so you don't have to worry about blowing away at all. Some nice humidity, 38%. Can't go wrong with that at all. Let's take a look throughout the two provinces here. So Cold Lake, Bonnyville, St. Paul, all at 25 degrees. Marwayne in there too at 25. Edmonton and Vermilion at 27, so a little bit warmer, but still nothing too crazy. Wainwright and Provost at 28, bordering on 30, but better than 30 for sure. Vegreville 26 and Lac La Biche at 24. Now over onto the Saskatchewan side, we can see Isle La Crosse there, 23 degrees, a lot of 25s. Pierceland, Green Lake, Meadow Lake, St. Walburg all at 25. Macklin is the highest in Saskatchewan at 28. Maidstone at 26 and North Battleford's at 27 today. Tonight, North Battleford is going to get to 12 degrees. Clear, but a little bit of clouds. You can watch the stars, but a little bit of clouds. Maybe need a telescope. 11-kilometer wind, so not too crazy. Going to get up to 28 tomorrow in North Battleford. Partly sunny, little bit of clouds. 17-kilometer-an-hour winds. Nothing too crazy. Now to Cold Lake. It's going to get to 11 tonight in Cold Lake. Mostly clear. You can see there's clouds floating in here and there, but not too crazy. 7-kilometer-an-hour wind. That's nice breeze we got. Going to get up to 25. The perfect day in Cold Lake tomorrow. It's sunny, pleasant, low chance of rain, decent wind. The perfect day. You want to go swimming, go barbecuing. That's when you want to do it. Here in Lloyd, 13 degrees, getting a little cloudier, 13-kilometer-an-hour winds. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast. 6 a.m., it's going to be cloudy, 13 degrees, going to get up to 24 at noon, going to stay at 24 at 6, more sunny than it is at noon, and at midnight, it'll be 14 degrees. The next 3 days coming up for this long weekend, we have Friday with a high of 26 and a low of 10. Breezy in the morning, nice sunny day. Saturday is partly sunny, delightful day out with a high of 22 and a low of 11. Maybe when you want to do your swimming and barbecuing on the long weekend. Sunday's a nice comfortable day, great time. High of 22 and a low of 12. And that's what we have for the weather, our first look at the weather. We're going to go to a break and we'll be back with more news.
The CPCA is now in the final 3 weeks of the season and will be heading to Kelvington for the August-long weekend. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
Today I'm joined by Brinley Hassan, the voice of the CPCA radio, and she is here today to talk to us about the races that just took place at Frog Lake, as well as the upcoming races this weekend in Kelvington. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Brinley.
Hey Thomas, thank you so much for having me.
And we'll start, Brinley, how were those races in Frog Lake this past weekend?
The weekend opened up on Friday with a lot of rain. Luckily for us, Frog Lake track is really well maintained and it's a really nice one there. So it holds water pretty well, but looking at those times from day number one, they were quite slow. I mean, this is a track where the record is about a 115 and guys were running 140 with no penalties or anything. So it was quite heavy there, which kind of gave an opportunity for different guys to get ahead and not just, the same last couple guys of the night really powering through. So as the rain went on, the track got heavier on Friday, which means that our day money run on Friday actually came from a non-point outfit of Ryan Baptiste, which typically isn't usually the case. A non-point outfit is not a driver's best running horses. It's kind of getting them out there and getting them practiced on the track and in a race. So for them to win a day money kind of just speaks a little bit more about the conditions there. Saturday, Danny Ringette had a really nice looking run that kind of bumped him up in the times again. And Logan Gorst actually wasn't even in the top 5 that night, which I don't know if that's happened at all this season until then. So that heavier track really had an effect on him as well, but not enough to take him out of the running, because Championship Sunday there, we still saw him walk away with yet another aggregate championship buckle. So it was definitely another good weekend for Logan Gorst, but there was some guys up there making moves as well, like Brad McMahon. He was sitting 3rd. Danny was in 2nd. Dallas Dick was kind of right behind them in 4th, and Colby Stanley rounded out the top 5.
And those drivers you just mentioned are in the top spots in the driver standings right now for the CPCA. And with the CPCA finals getting ever closer, what are drivers trying to do right now to, if they're not in those final 4 spots, get into them, and if they are in those final 4 spots, hold on to them so that they can be in that final dash for cash?
Yeah, I mean, right now, looking at our CPCA point standings, I think anyone in the top 10, it's kind of fair game for them. We've seen a lot of movement back and forth, and even going back to Batosh, where we saw, some guys didn't run as good there, and the standings really moved up. Colby moved up to fourth, and he bumped Dallas and Robbie Ethier both back a couple spots. So things are pretty fluid right now, and I think everybody's going to be really focused on having clean runs to secure those spots because yes, you want to make it to number one, but you also really want to be in one of those top four spots, if not number one, because that's what gets you into that final dash for cash. I think someone like Dallas Dick absolutely has it in him, and he's right on the bubble there. It's going to be really tricky to hold him off for the guys that are in the top four spots right now.
And as we get to the final few races of the CPCA season, what are drivers doing to keep their horses in top shape so they can finish strong?
I mean, the Chuck Wagon racing season is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and the care for these horses never quits. It is around the clock, constant, making sure that their feed is exactly tailored to them and helping them perform and, kind of recuperate as best as possible. They're getting Magna Wave treatments, they're getting all sorts of things. Horses get chiropractic work, their teeth are always, kept up to top shape. So, it's kind of a whole laundry list of things that these drivers are doing right now to make sure that their horses are staying healthy, but also running at the best of their capacity.
Thank you so much for all the information today, Brinley, and we look forward to another great set of races in Kelvington this weekend.
Thank you so much for having me, Thomas.
The Lloydminster Rescue Squad's biggest fundraiser of the year is coming up, and they are still looking for sponsors. Abby St. John has more on the Sirens and Sapphires Gala.
I'm very happy to be joined here today by Ryan LeBlanc, the Deputy Chief of the Lloydminster Rescue Squad. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, we are talking about one of your biggest, if not the biggest, fundraisers that you guys hold every year. We are talking about the ninth annual Sirens and Sapphires Gala, which is coming up on October 5th. It's very exciting, especially for this year, and we'll get to why that is in a little bit. But can we first start about a little bit about the history of the Sirens and Sapphires Gala?
Yeah, so again, as you said, this was our ninth annual gala this year, and it's come such a long way. Our first year, it was a struggle, and trying to learn, how to host one of these kinds of events, and here we are 9 years later, and it's been such a successful night for us every year. The community comes out and shows their support, and it's been just such a well received event, and we are so grateful.
Yes, it's always nice to dress up and, just have a great evening, but also raising money for a great cause like the Rescue Squad. Now, this year is a little bit special as it's your 40th anniversary as well. So, how are you guys going to tie in that anniversary with this year's gala?
Yeah, we're just gonna, we're doing some reminiscing back on our social media pages about, kind of where the squads come and where we were and some of the equipment and technology that we've been able to acquire over the last few years, and Lloydminster should be proud of what's right here in our community. And it's really because of all of the donors and the supporters that we have that we are able to get this stuff. So we're so grateful, and we showcase a lot of this equipment at the gala, so people are able to see kind of what it is last year's gala got and the year before, and you can kind of see it progressing, and a lot of this really special equipment that we're able to get to help families in need.
Yes, for sure. You guys do provide a vital service to the community, especially when you guys are needed in those emergency situations. Now, this gala this year is on October 5th, and you guys are still there's still some open tables, still looking for some sponsorships. So tell me a little bit about how that works for people if they're interested in attending the gala.
Yeah, so we got you can phone us, you can go on our website and buy a table tickets there. They're $125 a ticket or $1,000 for a table of eight. They can, like I said, they can buy them online or give us a call. We're still looking for sponsors. We got about 20 tables left for the gala, and it's going to be sold out. So I anticipate it'll be sold out here shortly. And yeah, I know if it's a great night. We got Uptown coming this year for our band, and Steve Shannon's coming back for our MC, and we're excited to see them, and it's going to be just a fun all rounded night.
Wonderful. And finally, just more so for the actual day, it's on October 5th, but where is it being held and what time are the doors opening?
Yeah, so it's down at the WLS Convention Center at the Lloyd Exhibition Association, and doors open at 5 o'clock, and then the mix and mingle starts at 5:30, and dinner to fall at 6:30.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to hear more about after the gala, how much you guys raised, and how you guys celebrated your 40th anniversary. So, thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Now let's take a look at your adorable animals in our pet picks of the day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
The Lloydminster and Vermilion for Equity Foundation is putting together a community cookbook. The Frontline agency is currently calling for recipes of all kinds. Leanne Sanders spoke to the foundation about the initiative.
I am here today speaking with Brittany and Amber from the Lloydminster and Vermilion Equity. We're talking about the cookbook that you guys are spearheading, and it is a community cookbook, and you've put a call out for recipes. What can you tell me about that?
So I feel like food is a great equalizer. I mean, we all have to eat. And Street Team started by us handing out water and feeding people. So we want to have everybody from the community put in recipes and memories tied to the recipes if they'd so wish. And food just kind of brings people together. So we'd like to have all community members as on board if possible. Um, and at the end of having the cookbook, we would like to do a presentation and maybe even like a potluck style um, dinner to get everybody together. With Street Team, we cater to the unhoused and other vulnerable sectors. So a special part of this cookbook will be including their favorite meals, and then possibly so we can cook those favorite meals in the future. We're also going to include meals that we have cooked in the past, over the past 3-ish years.
So you do feed people that are unhoused or otherwise don't have a place to go for supper and lunch. What types of things do you normally provide to the people that need them?
So when we first started, it was a lot smaller. We fed a lot less people. I started with one little crock pot, and then before me, there was volunteers before I joined as well. Similar thing. So back then, we could do a little bit more fancy meals. But now that we're feeding 70, sometimes even up to 100 people, a lot of times it's whatever we can do cheaper. And so like chilies, soups, barbecue. And then we actually have a family, the Bonner family, that comes one Sunday a month, and they go all out and do lots of baking, and they'll have like 7 crock pots on the go. So yeah, basically anything we can do cheaply and in the most amount. And then we also do lunches as well. So we hand out lunches for them to go, sandwiches, granola bars, fruit snacks, fruit, and we try to do balanced meals as possible.
Right. I didn't hear bannock or bullet soup in there. Are there any sort of traditional meals served at all?
Yeah, we do bannock a lot. One of our volunteers, Heather, she is our bannock lady. When we do bigger events, like we did Street Fest, she spearheaded the bannock making, and I helped. Well, I don't know how much I helped, but I watched her do it, and yeah, so lots of bannock dogs. Yeah.
And I hope there's going to be a few bannock recipes in the cookbook as well.
I hope so. Yeah, we've already actually had a few people mention that that was their favorite meal, so that would be great to have.
So with the cookbook, how long are you going to be gathering the recipes for? And like, are you hoping to get it a certain size, or do you need a certain number of pages, or is it just as you collect the recipes, that's what it'll be?
Yeah, so I'd like to get as many as possible. I'm aiming to have them in by August 26th, if possible. But I don't know how big or how small this is going to be. So yeah, we're kind of playing it by ear to see. But yeah.
As far as getting the book published, what's the timeline? Is it sort of going to be out there for Christmas, that kind of thing, or will it be sooner?
Yeah, it's so I guess we have to see how many recipes we get in, and then see what printing is like, and then binding. We're going to maybe reach out to a few different businesses around town and see if they'll work with us for that. So, uh, yeah, it'll kind of depend on that, but I would definitely like to have it by or before Christmas.
All right. I don't know, Brittany, if you can speak to this or perhaps Amber. You were mentioning about how the fundraising, you guys are always short of funding. And I think that a lot of frontline agencies are like that. And when you speak to different levels of government, they're like, oh, well, they do that, or they do that. Is there, a hope that someday there will be a steady funding stream for the projects that you undertake? I know they do grants as well, but obviously more would be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, more is always would always be good. And this kind of initiative is kind of a way to network in a way that's a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more like meeting people as people. Maybe we can bridge some communication. Um, and yeah, so we're always kind of coming up with different ways to fundraise, and this is one of them. We have applied for and received grants. We've partnered with few different businesses in town who have made donations. But yeah, it'd always be great to have more. We are doing okay right now, but yeah, so it would be great to continue to grow.
All right. Well, Brittany, those are my only questions for you. Is there anything that you would like to add at all that I may have not asked?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in sending a recipe, trying to aim for August 26th, and you can email Brittany, BRITTNEY, at lvefoundation.com, or you can check us out at the LVE Facebook page.
All right. Well, Brittany and Amber, thank you so much for your time. Amber, I know you didn't say much. You were here for backup, but I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Coming up after the break, we will have an extended look at weather.
And we're back here with some more weather. Still looking lovely outside in Lloyd here. 25 degrees, 13-kilometer-an-hour wind. Very nice day. So throughout Alberta here, we can see Whitecourt is at 24 degrees, Athabasca 25, Edson and Jasper out west at 26 degrees, Rocky Mountain House at 27 degrees, Edmonton and Red Deer at 28, and Cold Lake and Lloyd are both at 26. Now over in Saskatchewan here, Meadow Lake at 25 degrees, North Battleford is at 27, Saskatoon is the warmest of the bunch at 28, Prince Albert at 26 degrees, and Melfort at 25. Now we move up to northern Saskatchewan here, Uranium City 18 degrees, Stony Rapids 20 degrees, Wollaston Lake 22 degrees, South End Reindeer at 23 degrees, La Loche and Buffalo Narrows there at 24 degrees each, along with Flin Flon. Now back in Alberta here, Fort Chipewyan at 20 degrees, Fort McMurray 25 degrees along with Grand Prairie, Peace River at 24 degrees, High Level at 23 degrees, and Slave Lake at 22. Now down in southern Alberta, we're getting into some 30s territory. Banff is the warmest of the bunch there, 29 degrees, Coronation is 30 degrees, Calgary 31, Lethbridge 32, and Medicine Hat at 33. Not much different in Saskatchewan. Yorkton at 27 degrees and Kindersley at 28. Moose Jaw and Regina are both at 30 degrees. Swift Current at 31 and Estevan at a boiling 34 degrees. Now tonight's forecast in North Battleford, 12 degrees, a little bit of clouds, but mostly clear. Now we move on to Cold Lake, 11 degrees, so a little bit cooler, mainly clear, not a lot of wind, no chance of rain. Now let's take a look at some other temperatures throughout the region. Meadow Lake, Bonnyville, and Paradise Hill are at 12 degrees. Paradise Hill has a 55% chance of showers. The farmers are going to like that. Provost and Isle La Crosse at 13 degrees. Some more temperatures throughout the region. Mirnam at 13 degrees. Pierceland at 11 degrees. Unity at 14 degrees. Wainwright at 12 degrees. And Calgary's the warmest of the bunch at 16 degrees. Now let's take a look at the forecast tonight in Lloyd. 13 degrees. It's going to be a little cloudier than it was previously with 13-kilometer-an-hour winds. Now let's take a look at the forecast. Looks like we're going to have a lovely long weekend here. Kicking it off at Friday with 26 as the high. Saturday, 23 is going to be the high, going to get down to 11. Sunday, 22 is the high, going to get down to 12. And the last day of the long weekend, 20 degrees. Rest of the week is looking good. Going to get some rain on Thursday.
It's quite exciting how much better the temperatures are for this upcoming week. I know it's still a little less than preferable. I know some people prefer the high 20s than the low 20s. I'm a low 20s kind of guy, so
me too.
I prefer that. That is all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great night.